Please join me in welcoming to Millikin University, Mr. Robert F. Kennedy, Jr.
If I can ask you just to raise the house lights a little bit. I want to be able to see if people are leaving. I've been an environmental advocate for 27 years. I've always recognized from the beginning of my advocacy that we're not protecting the environment so much for the sake of the fishes and the birds, but for our own. Front this argument that an investment in our environment is a diminishment of our nation's wealth. It doesn't diminish our wealth. It's an investment in infrastructure. The biggest crisis that we face as a civilization is the crisis of global warming. The biggest challenge that we face is how do we use energy and extract it and deploy it and mobilize it in ways that don't compromise the aspirations, that don't damage our own economy, but also don't compromise the aspirations of future generations. And 500 tons of ammonium nitrate explosives they detonate every day in West Virginia. It's the equivalent of a Hiroshima bomb once a week. We produce energy much cheaper than coal. We can produce energy much cheaper than oil or nuke. The problem is the incumbents are able to get these subsidies for themselves and give themselves an unfair market. Every nation that has decarbonized its society has experienced instantaneous prosperity. Enough wind energy, harnessable wind energy in Montana, Texas, and North Dakota to power 100% of the entire North American energy grid 3 times over, even if every American owned an electric car. And the homeowner collects the money from turning off his hot water boiler during a peak incident, and turning off his electric toothbrush holder, and his swimming pool recirculator, and all this, these phantom charges in our homes that we don't need, and that you're paying big money for whenever you go to peak. You're paying 40 cents a kilowatt hour. And you can save that, and then you can store energy in your car battery and sell it to the utility and make money doing that. And the technology for doing that is all there. We just don't have the infrastructure yet where we can do that. My home is a power plant. I'm powered by geothermal, and then I have 2 solar systems on the roof, and my house is generating more energy even when I'm in it. When I'm away for the summer or for weekends or something with my kids, it's just pure power plant. But even when I'm in it, 90% of the time it's producing more energy than it uses. I ought to be able to sell that energy back on the grid and make market rates from it. And every American ought to be able to do that. We turn every American into an energy entrepreneur, every home into a power plant, and power this country on American initiative, what Franklin Roosevelt called American industrial genius, and our resourcefulness and our energy rather than Saudi oil. And that's going to be really good for our country if we do that. And we're going to have a system that provides our country free energy forever, which is the biggest tax break, permanent tax break that ever has happened in history, because the biggest bill that we're paying is our energy bill. And if you eliminate that, we become the most competitive nation on earth. In a true free market system, you can't make yourself rich without making your neighbors rich and without enriching your community. But what polluters do is they make themselves rich by making everybody else poor. They raise standards of living for themselves by lowering the quality of life for everybody else, and they do that by escaping the discipline of the free market. You show me a polluter, I'll show you a subsidy. I'll show you a fat cat using political clout to escape the discipline of the free market and force the public to pay his production costs. There's a huge difference between free market capitalism, which makes a nation more efficient, more prosperous, and more democratic, and the kind of corporate crony capitalism which we've embraced on Capitol Hill and elsewhere, which is as antithetical to democracy, efficiency, and prosperity in America as it is in Nigeria. So I'm getting a big signal to shut up. And I'm going to thank you all.